Making the decision to place a loved one in a nursing home is one of the most difficult choices a family can face. It's a decision born from love, necessity, and the deep-seated hope that they will be safe, comfortable, and cared for with the dignity they deserve. But behind the polished brochures and the reassuring smiles during a scheduled tour, a darker reality often lurks. A reality that facilities don't advertise. A hidden epidemic of neglect, abuse, and exploitation that unfolds behind closed doors, affecting the most vulnerable members of our families. What if the place you chose for their safety is actually the source of their suffering? What if their silence isn't a sign of contentment but a symptom of fear? This is the nightmare that countless families wake up to, but often it's far too late. Welcome to Blessed Elderly. Today, we are not here to offer easy reassurances. We are here to arm you with the hard truth. We are pulling back the curtain on the 6 most dangerous and devastating secrets of the nursing home industry. These are the red flags they pray you'll overlook, the questions they hope you'll never ask. This knowledge may be uncomfortable, but it is absolutely essential. By the end of this video, you will be equipped to be a fierce and effective advocate for your loved ones. You will know precisely what to look for, what to demand, and how to protect them from the dangers that hide in plain sight. Let us begin. If you found this video uplifting, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content that celebrates a life of vitality at any age. 1. The ghost staff. Chronic understaffing that breeds neglect. The single greatest predictor of quality of care in any nursing home isn't the building's beauty or the cost. It is the number of staff available to care for its residents. And the most pervasive, dangerous secret is that many facilities are chronically, intentionally understaffed. This isn't an accident, it's often a business model. Fewer staff means lower payroll and higher profits. But this business decision has devastating human consequences. When caregivers are stretched to their breaking point, responsible for far too many residents, neglect isn't just possible, it becomes inevitable. What does this neglect look like? It's call buttons that go unanswered for hours. It's residents left in soiled clothes, stripped of their dignity. It's delayed or missed medications that can lead to catastrophic health declines. It's the development of agonizing bed sores because no one has time to reposition a resident in their bed. It's malnutrition and dehydration because there isn't a free pair of hands to help someone eat their meal. Consider the story of Walter, an 82-year-old man in what his family thought was a top-tier facility. They trusted the system, but over time, they saw him fading, becoming frail and confused. The horrifying truth, discovered only after persistent questioning, was that his decline was manufactured by neglect. Skipped medications, missed meals, and painful sores from being left in one position for too long. The staff weren't evil. They were simply too overwhelmed to provide even the most basic human care. Ask for specific staff-to-resident ratios for both daytime and overnight shifts. Don't accept vague answers. Visit at different, unannounced times, especially during busy periods like meals or shift changes. Observe. Are staff members frantic and rushed? How long does it take for a call light to be answered? Your own eyes are your most reliable tool. Understaffing is the root from which most other horrors in this system grow. 2. The illusion of cleanliness. Deplorable hygiene and unsanitary conditions. Every nursing home tour will present an image of cleanliness, but what you see in the lobby is often a carefully constructed facade. Behind the scenes, many facilities are failing at the most fundamental responsibility, providing a safe and sanitary environment. For a senior with a compromised immune system, poor hygiene isn't just unpleasant, it's a life or death issue. We're talking about foul odors that are dismissed by staff, dirty linens, unwashed floors, and even pest infestations. These conditions are breeding grounds for disease. Infections can spread like wildfire. Urinary tract infections and painful skin conditions become common when residents are not cleaned properly. Shared medical equipment, if not sanitized, becomes a vehicle for bacteria. A simple failure of a caregiver to wash their hands can trigger a deadly outbreak of pneumonia. Think of Eleanor, 79, who entered a facility for short-term rehab after a fall. Her family noticed a strange smell but were told it was nothing. Weeks later, Eleanor was hospitalized with a severe respiratory infection, one of several residents who fell ill. The cause? A dirty ventilation system that had been neglected for years. The very air she was breathing was making her sick. Trust your senses. Does the facility have a persistent underlying odor of urine or disinfectant trying to cover something up? Look at the details. Check the corners of the bathrooms, the cleanliness of the dining hall, and the condition of the shared spaces. Observe the residents themselves. Do they appear well groomed? Are their clothes clean? Is their hair brushed? A lack of personal hygiene is a massive red flag that points directly to neglect. Cleanliness is not a luxury. It is a fundamental right and a cornerstone of health and dignity. 3. The betrayal of trust, emotional and physical abuse. This is the hardest secret to confront, the one every family prays they will never encounter. It is the betrayal of a sacred trust, the mistreatment of a resident at the hands of their caregiver. Abuse in nursing homes takes two forms: the insidious emotional abuse and the horrifying physical abuse. Emotional abuse is a slow poison. It's staff who speak to residents with contempt, who ignore their requests, or who treat them as an inconvenience. For a person who is completely dependent on others, this constant degradation is crushing. It leads to depression, anxiety, withdrawal, and a total loss of the will to live. Physical abuse is a far more common reality than we want to believe. It can be a stressed caregiver lashing out, or the deliberate use of excessive force on a resident who cannot defend themselves. It can even be resident-on-resident aggression that is allowed to fester due to a lack of supervision. Harold's story is a chilling example. His family noticed bruises on his arms, but the staff casually explained it away as a minor fall. He became withdrawn and terrified. The truth only came out when a relative overheard a staff member verbally degrading him. He was being handled roughly, treated not as a person, but as a nuisance. He was living in a state of fear, right under his family's nose. Watch for sudden, unexplained changes in behavior. Is your loved one suddenly withdrawn, anxious, or fearful, especially around certain staff members? Never ignore unexplained bruises, cuts, or bed sores. These are physical evidence. Demand a clear, documented explanation for any injury. Visit unexpectedly and at various times of the day. Abuse thrives in secrecy and when perpetrators believe no one is watching. Your presence is a powerful deterrent. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. 4. The financial predators. Hidden fees and exploitation. The vulnerability of nursing home residents doesn't just put them at physical risk. It makes them prime targets for financial predation. Many families enter an agreement believing the costs are clear, only to find themselves trapped in a web of hidden fees, escalating charges, and outright exploitation. One of the most common traps is the misleading contract. Families sign what seems like a straightforward agreement, only to be ambushed by extra charges for basic services that should have been included, like helping a resident get dressed or escorting them to a meal. These small fees accumulate into thousands of dollars, draining a family's resources. Even more sinister is the direct exploitation of residents, particularly those with cognitive impairments. There are documented cases of unethical facilities manipulating seniors into signing over control of their bank accounts, property, or pensions. Staff members have been caught forging signatures or pressuring residents into making devastating financial decisions. Barbara, 84, was a victim of this systematic overcharging. Her family had budgeted carefully for her care, but her daughter discovered her savings account was nearly empty. The nursing home had been billing her for phantom services, physical therapy she never attended, and medications she didn't need, padded with a long list of vague, administrative fees. It was calculated predatory theft. Demand a detailed, itemized breakdown of all charges on every single bill. Question every line item that seems unclear or excessive. Never allow your loved one to sign any financial documents without a trusted family member or lawyer present to review them. If the resident has cognitive impairments, ensure a trusted power of attorney is closely monitoring all their financial accounts to prevent unauthorized activity. Protecting your loved one's health includes protecting their financial security from those who would prey on their vulnerability. 5. Medical roulette. Limited oversight and chemical restraints. Families assume a nursing home provides constant, reliable medical supervision. Too often, that assumption is dangerously false. The reality in many facilities is one of long delays for medical attention, ignored health concerns, and the horrifying overuse of medication to sedate, not treat residents. A major issue is the lack of on-site medical professionals. Many homes only have part-time doctors or nurses who visit infrequently, leaving residents in the care of less qualified staff who are not equipped to handle a medical emergency. A fall, a sudden fever, or severe pain might mean waiting hours or even days for proper medical attention, a delay that can be fatal for a senior. Even more disturbing is the widespread practice of using chemical restraints. This is when staff give residents powerful sedatives and antipsychotic drugs, not for a legitimate medical need, but simply to make them more manageable. Instead of addressing the root cause of a resident's agitation, which could be pain, fear, or loneliness, they are drugged into a quiet, docile state for the convenience of the understaffed facility. Gerald was a victim of this practice. A mentally sharp man, he became groggy, confused, and unable to hold a conversation within months of entering a facility. His daughter was horrified to discover he'd been put on powerful sedatives he never needed, simply to manage his restlessness. They were chemically extinguishing his personality for their convenience. Ask direct questions. Is there a doctor on staff 24/7? If not, what is the protocol for a medical emergency after hours? Request a regular review of all medications your loved one is prescribed. Question any new sedatives or antipsychotics. Ask why it was prescribed and what non-medical interventions were tried first. If you notice a sudden, drastic change in your loved one's mental state or alertness, immediately investigate their medication chart. Proper medical care is a right, not a privilege. Sedation for convenience is abuse, plain and simple. 6. The silent epidemic. Loneliness and depression. The final, and perhaps most tragic, hidden danger is not one of physical harm, but of spiritual decay. It is the profound loneliness and isolation that consumes residents, leading to a silent epidemic of depression. Seniors move into these facilities hoping for a community, but are often met with endless hours of solitude in their rooms, with only a television for company. Staff are too busy for meaningful conversation, and organized activities are often uninspired and poorly attended. This isn't just sadness. It is a legitimate health crisis. Loneliness in older adults is medically proven to increase the risk of dementia, weaken the immune system, and shorten lifespan. The emotional neglect is just as deadly as the physical neglect. Helen's story is heartbreaking. After her husband died, she hoped to find new friends. Instead, she found rushed staff and silent residents. The light in her eyes dimmed. She wasn't physically ill, but she was suffering deeply from a lack of human connection. The facility was meeting her basic needs for food, and shelter but starving her soul. Thoroughly investigate the facility's social calendar and engagement programs. Ask about activities, group outings, and how they facilitate resident interaction. During a visit, observe the common areas. Are residents engaged with each other, or are they sitting alone and silent? If your loved one is in a facility, make social connection a priority. Schedule regular calls, video chats, and visits. Consider hiring a companion to visit a few hours a week just to talk and listen. We must remember that quality of life is not just about being kept alive. It's about having a life worth living. Conclusion and call to action. Understaffing, unsanitary conditions, abuse, financial exploitation, medical neglect, and crushing loneliness. These are the 6 heads of a monster that lurks within the walls of too many nursing homes. The purpose of revealing these dark truths is not to scare you, but to empower you. Awareness is the armor. You need to fight for the safety and dignity of the people you love. You are their most important and often their only advocate. Do not be afraid to be difficult. Ask the hard questions. Show up unannounced. Document everything. Trust your gut. You have the right to demand transparency and accountability. We at Blessed Elderly believe that shining a light on these dark corners is the only way to create change. If this video has armed you with valuable knowledge, please help us spread this crucial awareness. First, click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We are committed to providing you with the unflinching truth you need to navigate the challenges of senior care. Second, give this video a like. It is a small click for you, but it tells the algorithm that this is a critical issue, helping this video reach more families who desperately need this information. And finally, and most importantly, use the comment section below to build a community of vigilance. Have you or a loved one experienced one of these dangers? Please share your story. Your experience, your warning, could be the very thing that saves another family from a similar nightmare. Thank you for your courage in facing these truths with us. Be vigilant, be strong, be their voice.